What is up, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a reaction to Vita Carnis, episodes 6 through 10. I did the first 5 episodes. I thought they were really good. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. And please like and follow. It helps me out a lot, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
The host of influence. The host of influence, more commonly referred to as the host, has its name derived from a host who invites guests to an event. Not to be confused with a host, a harborer of parasites or disease. The host is a semi-humanoid looking organism. It has the structure of a head, torso, and arms. Other than this, it shares no other characteristics. The lower half of the host is comprised of a mass of fibrous tissue and tendrils that burrow into the ground to hold the host in place. Instead of skin, the host is covered in muscular tissue fibers, tendons, and veins. In some parts of the body are covered in a meaty plate, used to cover any large exposed areas, but allowing movement. The host's head has a smooth surface where the face should be, attached to a crooked neck, which houses a slit in the front used for feeding. On the host's back is a mound of pores. Protruding from these pores are hollow, hair-like structures, extending outwards. These hairs are barrels that release spores produced within host's body by being fired into the air. These spores are hazardous, so keep clear of them at all costs. Luckily, the host is rare, only found in North America. Obtaining info about the host is a very risky and daunting task. This is because of their rarity and of how dangerous it is to be up close to one.
It's interesting that they're only found in North America. I wonder why. Also, it seems to have spores. That's interesting. The thing about spores is that they're so small that, you might just be walking through the woods and a gust of wind would get you with these spores, possibly. Very curious.
The spores released by a host is very dangerous when inhaled. A host will release a cloud of spores into the air, which will be picked up by wind and carried great distances. If an organism inhales the spores, the particles will find their way into the organism's brain and infect them. An infected organism will show no symptoms of infection right away, but a couple hours after infection the infected organism's behavior and thought process will change. The first symptoms that appear are restlessness, sluggish movement, numbness of joints, and lack of coordination. Then more serious symptoms appear over time. These include dizziness, migraines, impaired speech, and trembles. If you, or someone you know show these symptoms, contact poison control or emergency services. After a total of 6 to 7 hours after infection, the organism will cease all activities they were previously doing and begin to walk. The direction the infected will walk is towards the host whose spores have been inhaled by the infected individual. If the infected makes their way to the host, they will kneel down in front of it, expose their vital organs, and the host will promptly gut and remove those organs. The host will consume them and discard the leftover scraps. However, if an infected organism doesn't reach the host within a 36-hour span or is treated for their infection, the effects will wear off and return back to normal. If a host is unable to find prey or doesn't...
Okay. So all you had to do is keep these people from getting back to the host. That's good. It's weird that they only eat organs. You'd think they would eat the whole carcass. Maybe not the bones or something, but they eat the whole thing. I wonder what kind of vital nutrients it needs. It must be getting something from the organs specifically.
doesn't like its current location, it will unroot itself and move to a new location. Their scarce numbers and the hazard of being around one makes getting info about the host very daunting. All you need to currently know is that the host is extremely dangerous and should be avoided at all costs. Next, the monoliths.
I'm curious if like a gas mask would help protect you against these things. I didn't think they could move, but the fact that they can uproot themselves and move is kind of daunting as well. I'm very curious what the next one is. Let's see it. Hold on, we got some lore that just dropped. Let's see here. Although one day the critters found the cave while searching for food, they found the prince in trance in his healing sleep. The critters were so awestruck and enchanted by the prince's magic. Interesting. There seems to be a theme of like a king, a queen, and a prince. It's interesting the prince has healing magic. And then I wonder what these critters are. Darian, another good video. Now we're on to episode 7, I believe.
The monoliths. The monolith is a very new creature, only showing up in June of 1972, in the area of... There are only 7 monoliths, all of them located in a circular position, 1.5 kilometers in diameter. This ring of monoliths surrounds... The monolith is a Titanic-sized being, measuring roughly 120 meters in height. Each monolith has 2 trunk legs that are firmly embedded underground.
What? That's insanely a colossal thing. Especially because these things grow from eating, dead tissue, decaying stuff. Imagine how much nutrients this thing must have required to be built like this. I'm curious if this is a collection of different types of creatures we've seen so far. Like maybe they've all come together and basically coagulated into this giant creature. Similar to like Dead Space. Whenever, what are they called? Whenever the things in Dead Space call and create more and more of the undead creatures. They're not even undead, but you guys know what I'm saying. They basically form into a giant super creature. I'm curious if these creatures in Vita Carnis are doing something similar. And it's also weird that they're in such a perfectly circular pattern. And there's only 7, and the area is redacted. Makes me feel like the government is definitely covering this up, obviously, and letting it happen for some reason. So, we'll see.
The legs connect to a torso. The creature itself is made of hundreds of thousands of meaty strands, tightly woven together to form the structure. These strands end at the neck, fusing into a solid mass of hardened flesh in the shape.
Structure on the top of the body is capable of releasing large bellows of noise, and in one raise an EMP pulse that can disable electronics. That's interesting. It's like the creatures here are evolving into a much more advanced sentient species, especially because this one's much newer than the others.
Shape of an upside-down triangle, with a hole in its center. On each side of the monolith where arms would be, there are dozens of long
arm tendrils will sway and stab through and stab, it looks like my throats or any large objects passing the perimeter. Oh, so it's basically like a little defensive tower almost.
Long, rope-like appendages. These reach just barely to the ground. At the creature's feet, the strands go deep into the earth and extend horizontally a decent distance away. What the monoliths do is simply stand and do nothing. The only activity documented that the monoliths have done was in
more redacted stuff.
Period, they were extremely aggressive. When the group of were making their way to the city, The monolith that they had passes roared a deep bellow and swung its appendages at the team, completely wiping them out. When military vehicles were dispatched, once they got...
Man, could you imagine walking? It almost looks like we're in the plains area. There's some hills, but it looks like we're in the plains, like the Great Plains in the United States or whatever. But could you just imagine seeing these from a distance? They would almost feel like gods, wouldn't they? Especially if imagine like a tribal people that didn't know anything about these, just found these one day. They would worship them as gods for sure.
Close enough topped the monolith, it roared another call, this time releasing an EMP blast, completely knocking the vehicles out in the vicinity. Finally, long-distance rockets were fired and struck the creature.
Ooh, here we go, chat. Here we go. Man.
Although damaged, it regenerated at great speed and resumed its stance unscathed.
The fibrous tendrils, I'm assuming, when damaged, is able to replicate and repair itself fully, maybe?
Eventually, the area has been fenced off and is now restricted to all.
Yeah, you'd
Ever
have
since,
to.
The monolith stands silently, now only a grand spectacle of awe and mystery, only adding more questions to these meat beings. And finally, the last creature on this list is marvelous and majestic world that exists.
Hold on, we got some more lore. Ooh, okay, so we got more of those little creatures we were talking about earlier. Who is the creature? Why are they here? Are they dangerous? A thought was something. What if the creature could use its magic to help them? It may grow food and heal sickness. They continued to argue about the prince and his magic. And in the end, the majority of the agreed that the prince was dangerous and should not be maybe meddled with. Okay, so they're definitely against the prince. That's interesting. How does this apply to the series, though? If we're to assume the prince is the creatures, the crawl and all the, branches of the crawl, these creatures would have to be the humans, right? And then if we go back and we look at the first symbolism we saw, which is the king, the queen, and the prince, looks like the prince represents the majority of the crawl in general. The queen, I don't think we've encountered her yet. She might be equivalent to the monoliths, possibly. And I feel like the next creature might represent the king in that situation. Now let's put the speed back, normal, and continue.
Marvelous and majestic world that exists
Things
today.
are not marvelous
It's as
or
extraordinary
majestic.
to have such strange and mysterious beings appear all around us. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery of the lives of these living meat creatures.
Well, Darian, thank you for making these. These are amazing. Wait, is this just a recap? It looks like this is just a recap. It goes over the entire, what we just watched. Is there anything new at the end? Ooh. There is something new at the end of this. The singularity is the next one.
Comprised of a dark-colored mineral with hints of luminous colors within its core.
Oh, okay, so it's gonna read it. My bad.
The singularity is estimated to be 1 meter in diameter. The orb has several unique qualities that are not well understood. The singularity typically can be found suspended marvelous and majestic world that
That's so good. Love that. Now I'm curious. I gotta make sure you didn't add anything else. This guy's really good at putting together stories. Okay, we saw that already. Okay, saw water there. I don't know if that was in my first reaction or not. Man, the singularity is very interesting. These definitely feel like alien creatures, even though they're saying they're from the planet.
This could be
Cook at home, cheese crawl, and Nini cook along. Ugh. Guys, there's no shot I would eat the crawl or anything related to these creatures.
the greatest discovery of the age.
Let this feeling in.
Have any information of the whereabouts of
We may
Be making a dish that has recently gained.
information of
Hold on. Wanted by the CSIS, Interprovincial Travel, Production of Sensitive Material, Vincent Barrera. Date of birth, August 28, 1968. Brown eyes, medium complexion, male, Canadian. Height, 185 centimeters. Photograph taken in 1988. I wonder why this guy's wanted by the CSIS. If you have any information concerning this person, please contact your local CSIS office. Telephone numbers and addresses of all CSIS offices are listed on the back. Looks like someone's flipping through channels here.
the whereabouts of
we may
Be making a dish that has recently gained a fair amount of popularity. Today's dish will be a cheesy crawl penne.
God, no, that sounds awful.
To start off, these will be the ingredients you will need. 3 cups of penne pasta.
Guys,
Roughly 3 cups.
I'd rather eat chitlins, okay? And I could never imagine eating chitlins, but I would rather eat chitlins than this. God.
Worth of fresh crawl. Try to get a variety of sizes when you buy yours, or when you harvest them yourself. 1 cup of cheese. Half a cup of green onion. 1 teaspoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of Cajun spice. 2 tablespoons of parsley. 1 tablespoon of dill. 1 tablespoon of garlic. A pinch of pepper. And finally, the most crucial ingredient. Nutrier Company's newly released Flavor Enhancer. To bring out the richness of flavors within each and every meal.
I don't trust that at all.
First, get a medium-sized pot and fill half of it with water.
That was the worst pour I've ever seen. In fact, I'm insulted by
Add a
that
pinch
pour.
of salt, which is used to help the pot come to a boil faster and help flavor the pasta. Then, set aside to boil. Grab your crawl and a sharp knife. Begin to cut the meat into a rough mince.
Ugh. It's leathery. Oh, no. God. Oh, God, stop with the sounds. Jesus. Ugh. God, no. Let me know if you guys would
Crawl is
eat
soft on
this.
the
Oh, my
outside,
God.
But the interior has a surprising sturdiness.
Yeah. Looks pretty sturdy to me, too.
Then,
No.
gather the meat and set aside.
Didn't even cut that other one. I feel like this, after you cook this, it's gotta be like leather, right?
Mince the green onion into rough segments.
See, I'd be fine with the green onion. Green onion sounds good.
Take this mince and set aside as well. Next, grab your skillet and preheat with along some oil.
Oh, look at that, guys.
Take your minced crawl and spread it evenly across the skillet.
No. God, no.
Stir occasionally until crisp and brown.
Crisp and brown.
As your water reaches a boil, add your penne and stir occasionally. Cook until soft. At this time, your crawl will be brown and crisp.
God, no.
Add your
God.
minced green onion and then the spices. Mix well. Once your pasta is finished cooking, strain it.
Guys, if it was this or becoming a vegan, I would just be a vegan. Jesus Christ.
Lay your cooked penne evenly into your dish. Then add the crawl topping.
The crawl topping. Ugh. Look at them. Italians are crying right now. Look at them just ruining this pasta.
Sprinkle a generous amount of cheese along the still warm crawl for it to melt.
You're gonna want to bake that.
At this point,
For sure.
finish preparing the dish with your flavor enhancer, but allow your dish to cool to a temperature below 60 degrees Celsius, or else the enhancer will not work.
Guys, if the
And now,
enhancer
you may serve and enjoy.
if the enhancer requires specific heat to work, you know it's some type of chemical that you just do not want at all in your body. Oh yeah, there we go. Although the other critters ignored the rest of their fellow kind. Instead, they secretly visited the slumbering visitor. They snuck what little food they had and carefully fed it to the prince, greatly hastening their recovery. Okay. In this case, if we're still going under the assumption that the prince here represents the crawl itself, then these critters have got to be basically like government agencies. You see all this redacted stuff. It seems like the government is coming in and helping the crawl do whatever it wants to do and helping it evolve. That's what I'm getting from this. Let me know what you guys think.
Many people get pets.
Guide to owning pet trimmings. No, guys, don't domesticate these things. Fire, okay? Burn them, okay? That's what we need to do to these things. I'm sure you guys agree, because what?
For companionship. They form bonds and grow relationships with these animals, even to the point of them being considered a part of the family. Most people get dogs or cats, but maybe you want something more interesting. Then, you may want to get yourself a trimming. These lumps of meat have grown a reputation
These lumps of meat. Oh, God. I wouldn't even want to touch that, guys. Would you guys even want to lay your hands on that thing? God. I know there's going to be some people in the comments, okay, that are going to be like, but he's cute. No, he's not. No, he's not. There's nothing cute about that, okay? Jesus Christ. It looks like a boxed circumcision or something. Oh my God.
To be a loving companion for many people in the recent months. Although, most people may not know the proper
God.
ways to care for them. Today, we will be showing you how you can care for your
No.
pet trimming.
God, no. Please stop.
Taking care of a trimming is fairly easy, but this is no reason to slack off. They are living things and do require maintenance. The first thing to keep in mind when keeping a trimming is the temperature of your home. While trimmings are resilient to both high and low conditions, you want to keep your base temperature near room temp, maybe slightly cooler. That being said, trimmings prefer warmer areas to nest. A simple setup you may use is a box with some blankets on the inside. Make sure there is enough for your trimming to cover itself. And now, you have a comfy bed for your buddy. Next, you want to give your trim.
Guys, I'm putting that thing in like a blender or something. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I would start adopting these just to drown them in the local river, okay? No shot.
Trimming the best diet possible. Trimmings are not picky eaters and will eat anything you give them. To keep your trimming healthy and
Angelica. That's the name they chose for this trimming. Jesus Christ. That is an L name. What?
strong, a diet of dry cat or dog food that is high in protein, provided 2 times a day, is best.
Oh, look at that.
As a treat, you may give your trimming any scraps of your food. Things like apple cores, banana peels, or eggshells are a perfect snack. A thing to remember is trimmings are nocturnal and make plenty of noise. To prevent
What? Who's keeping this thing in their house? Imagine you're sleeping and you wake up to that noise inside your house. No shot. Oh my God.
you from having sleepless nights, try to give your trimmings first meal in the late morning or afternoon. This helps them be active during these times instead. Another thing to consider if you want a pet trimming is where they will be living. Your home should have enough space for your trimming to roam around, as well as access to the outdoors, like a backyard. If not, be sure to take your trimmings on regular walks. This gives your trimming the exercise they need, as
Guys, I would go to jail so fast for animal abuse in this world.
I'm calling Peter.
If I saw someone walking these things, I would kill it. I don't care. I would be like, nope, dead. I don't care about these animals specifically. I love dogs. I love all other animals on the planet, basically, except mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can go extinct for all I care. But these things, God.
as well as allowing them to meet other trimmings. Trimmings are a social creature and need to interact with others of their kind, like how they do in the wild. When it comes to entertainment, trimmings are not the most active and aren't the best at fetch or tug of war. But here
Oh,
are
really?
other ways to keep your trimming entertained. Some toys that trimmings like are little items they can push, around, pull, or carry. Trimmings also enjoy things that you enjoy as well, like watching the television or listening to the radio. They love seeing and listening to all the funny things coming from the devices. After a long day, your trimming might be dirty and need a wash. To clean them, start your bath with a gentle warm water, mixed with a bit of hand or body wash. Gently scrub the trimming's feet, armpits, belly, and neck fold.
Make sure you guys use bleach for this. I hear it's really good for their skin.
Remember to be careful around their face and avoid getting soap in their eyes,
Ugh.
nose, and mouth.
Well, that
Gently
toothbrush
pat
is
dry with a
ruined.
towel when done. Now your buddy is all clean.
I appreciate the boop.
And lastly, as said before, trimmings are social creatures, so be sure to give them plenty of affection. They love receiving pats, scratches, and pets. They also love to sit with you and cuddle. Since they communicate with each other in the wild, it is best to replicate this behavior with them as well. Simply talking to them is plenty enough. You can talk about your day.
It's way too
if
close
anything
to that
interesting
mouth.
happened at work, if you are working on any new recipes, or talk about the weather. Trimmings are very good listeners and love to be involved. With all of these in mind, you are now well equipped to have a trimming become a part of the family.
They look like venereal diseases. God. They look like if your skin looked like this, you'd go to a doctor. Okay, you'd be like, I'm infected. There's something wrong with me. Because, oh my God.
Do things right, and you will have a companion for a long while.
So they live similar lifespans to like a dog or a cat. 8 to 12 years with this thing in your house would be nightmare fuel. You know, there's gonna be some person you're dating, and you're gonna go to their house, and you know they're gonna have one of these as a pet, and right there, biggest red flag of my life. If you have one of these as a pet, we cannot work out. I am sorry. Okay, we're done. Okay, guys, we got another little drop of lore here. Let's see. One day, the prince something, thanks to the critter's assistance. One day, the prince something, thanks to the critter's assistance, the healing time quickened. I'm assuming that's what that said. The prince had recovered, now fully able and willing, maybe. No, the rest I can't read. Okay, so basically the critters help the prince recover. He looks pretty happy. And if we're still going off of what I was saying earlier, if the prince represents the crawl or this entire species, then it's very happy with the humans that helped it. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We're going to end this here. Please like and subscribe. I'm really trying to make this work, and I really appreciate all the support. If you enjoy my channel, just thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.